The USA economy is showing signs of serious strain as mass layoffs hit some of the biggest names in business, shaking the America job market and raising fears of rising unemployment and a looming USA recession. Tech giants like Google, Amazon, Meta, and Tesla are cutting thousands of jobs, while industrial leaders such as Intel, Boeing, and UPS face declining demand and massive debt. Even household names like Disney and Walmart are downsizing, automating operations, and shuttering locations. These layoffs aren't just corporate numbers. They ripple through communities, local economies, and the U.S. economy as a whole. In this video, we break down how the struggles of these trillion-dollar giants are signaling a fragile American job market, falling consumer spending, and the real risk of a USA recession. Watch as we reveal the companies, the numbers, and the human impact behind the headlines shaking America today. Number 10. Google. The Google layoffs of 2025 are shaking the foundation of the U.S. economy and sending shockwaves through the America job market. Alphabet, Google's $1.8 trillion parent company, has cut more than 12,000 employees, including AI researchers, software engineers, and senior designers who once helped build the future of technology. From YouTube to Google Cloud and Pixel hardware, entire teams have been told to clear out, marking one of the most significant mass layoffs in Silicon Valley history. These cuts highlight a deeper issue within the U.S. economy. Google's once dominant digital ad revenue has fallen nearly 8%, wiping out over $12 billion in projected profits as companies reduce marketing budgets. YouTube views are declining, and competition from TikTok, Meta, and AI-driven search startups is eroding Google's long-held market dominance. Even Google Cloud, which was expected to be the company's growth engine, missed its earnings target by $2.4 billion last quarter. The company's massive pandemic-era hiring spree, which expanded its workforce to over 190,000 employees, has now become unsustainable amid slowing growth and rising USA recession fears. For thousands of workers, the layoffs came abruptly. Accounts deactivated overnight, careers ended with a single automated message. Beyond Google, these job cuts reflect broader cracks in the U.S. tech industry, lost income, shrinking innovation, and declining confidence in what once symbolized American economic strength. If even Google is cutting back, the message is clear. The U.S. economy is in trouble, and no one, not even Silicon Valley's brightest, is safe. Number 9. Amazon. The USA economy is showing alarming signs of strain as Amazon layoffs send shockwaves through the America job market. Once a symbol of unstoppable growth, the $1.6 trillion Amazon empire is now cutting deep, laying off more than 14,000 employees across its corporate, logistics, and cloud divisions. From warehouses in Ohio to AWS data centers in Virginia, the job cuts highlight growing unemployment concerns and fears of a looming USA recession. These aren't entry-level workers being let go. Many are engineers, analysts, and managers, the very people who built the infrastructure that powered the U.S. economy during the pandemic boom. Amazon Web Services, AWS, once bringing in over $90 billion a year, is now facing slower demand as companies cut cloud costs. Meanwhile, Amazon's e-commerce growth has plunged to just 3%, a stark contrast to its 37% surge in 2020. The company's workforce, which peaked at 1.5 million employees, is shrinking fast as automation, inflation, and collapsing consumer spending hit hard. With USA debt climbing and inflation eroding purchasing power, even everyday essentials and streaming services have become luxuries for millions of Americans. In Seattle, where Amazon's headquarters once symbolized prosperity, local cafes and shops have seen traffic drop by nearly 30%. For many, these layoffs aren't just a corporate strategy, they're a warning. When a trillion-dollar titan starts cutting its own core, it's not about efficiency anymore. It's about survival in a struggling U.S. economy. Number 8. Tesla. The Tesla layoffs of 2025 have become one of the most shocking signs of strain in the U.S. economy and the America job market. Once the crown jewel of American innovation, Tesla has announced 14,000 job cuts, roughly 10% of its global workforce, as demand for electric vehicles collapses and the threat of a USA recession grows. Production plants in Texas, Nevada, and California are scaling back as global EV sales slow sharply. Battery material costs have surged more than 25%, while fierce competition from Chinese automaker BYD and other low-cost rivals is undercutting Tesla's prices by thousands of dollars per vehicle. The company's once legendary growth, 50% year-over-year in 2021, has plummeted to just 5% in 2025. Behind the numbers lies a deeper story of overexpansion and overconfidence. Tesla invested billions into new gigafactories, betting on endless demand that never came. With interest rates at record highs, the average Tesla Model Y payment now exceeds $900 per month, pushing middle-class buyers out of the market. As a result, Tesla's stock price has dropped over 30% this year, erasing nearly $250 billion in market value. Insiders point to worsening quality control, delayed Cybertruck deliveries, and safety recalls that cost Tesla $1.3 billion in 2024. Morale inside factories is at an all-time low as departments merge or disappear overnight. Engineers once shaping the future of self-driving cars are now jobless, replaced by the same AI systems they helped create. For the broader U.S. economy, Tesla's cuts could eliminate another 20,000 indirect jobs across suppliers, logistics, and solar operations. Once a symbol of progress and clean energy, Tesla's decline now mirrors America's deeper economic struggle, where innovation still thrives, but fewer and fewer can afford the future it promises. Number 7. Meta. The Meta layoffs of 2025 stand as one of the most dramatic corporate downturns in the U.S. economy and the America job market. Under CEO Mark Zuckerberg's year of efficiency, Meta cut more than 20,000 jobs, impacting teams across Facebook, Instagram, and Reality Labs. Once valued at over $1 trillion, Meta's market capitalization has fallen nearly 40% from its peak, driven by mounting losses and declining user engagement. The company's bold bet on the metaverse, once hailed as the future of the internet, has turned into a financial disaster, losing more than $13 billion last year alone. Reality Labs continues to drain over $2.8 billion per quarter, leaving investors furious and employees demoralized. Inside Meta's Silicon Valley headquarters, hallways are empty, cafeterias silent, and survivors describe a ghost campus atmosphere where everyone fears being next. Laid-off workers received automated termination emails, ending years of service in a single sentence. Your role has been eliminated. For many, the emotional toll is devastating. These were high-skilled engineers, designers, and managers, people with families, mortgages, and student loans, now part of a growing wave of unemployment sweeping through the tech sector. Meta's advertising revenue, once the engine of its empire, has fallen by nearly $10 billion as small businesses slash marketing budgets and younger users abandon Facebook for platforms like TikTok. Even Threads, Meta's supposed Twitter replacement, lost over 80% of daily users within months. For the broader U.S. economy, Meta's collapse represents more than just a corporate misstep. It's the end of an era. The social media bubble that once connected billions is now bursting under its own digital weight, leaving behind layoffs, lost innovation, and a haunting question. When the company that built connections starts breaking apart, what does that say about America's future? Number 6. Boeing. The Boeing layoffs of 2025 mark one of the most devastating blows to the U.S. economy and the American manufacturing industry. Once the pride of American engineering, Boeing is now facing a severe crisis that threatens both its legacy and the nation's industrial backbone. The aerospace giant has announced over 12,000 job cuts, nearly 10% of its global workforce, as it struggles with production delays, safety scandals, and mounting USA debt. Following multiple aircraft malfunctions and lawsuits totaling more than $4.3 billion, Boeing's operations have slowed dramatically. Assembly plants in Washington and South Carolina, once symbols of American innovation, now sit eerily silent. The company's total debt has surpassed $52 billion, and quarterly interest payments exceed $600 million, crippling cash flow. Airline demand is weakening, Supply chains are faltering, and global orders are being canceled, pushing Boeing's stock down over 40% in 2 years and erasing $70 billion in market value. Beyond the balance sheets, the layoffs have created a human crisis. Thousands of engineers and technicians, some with decades of service, are now facing unemployment. In cities like Everett and Renton, Washington, families are struggling as home prices fall, small businesses close, and entire communities face economic collapse. Economists warn that Boeing's downfall could trigger a ripple effect across the U.S. job market, costing another 30,000 indirect jobs in parts manufacturing and logistics. More than a corporate failure, Boeing's decline represents the erosion of America's industrial heart, where profits replaced quality and shortcuts replaced safety. Once the company that helped lift America to the skies, Boeing's fall now symbolizes how far the U.S. economy can sink when accountability disappears. Number 5. Disney. The Disney layoffs of 2025 are sending shockwaves through the U.S. economy and the America job market, marking a heartbreaking chapter for one of the most iconic companies in history. Once a symbol of joy and imagination, Disney is now struggling under the weight of $45 billion in debt, massive streaming losses, and plummeting theme park attendance. The entertainment giant has laid off more than 7,000 employees across its divisions as part of a strategic restructuring that reflects deeper cracks in the U.S. economy and growing fears of a USA recession. Disney's streaming business, including Disney Plus, reported losses of over $2.2 billion last year, while attendance at theme parks in Florida and California has fallen by 18% year over year. Families simply can't afford luxury vacations anymore. $180 park tickets, $10 churros, and $400 hotel rooms are now out of reach for the struggling American middle class. Meanwhile, the company's content budgets are being slashed, and beloved animation projects from Pixar and Marvel have been canceled or outsourced to cheaper contractors and AI tools. In Florida, the ripple effect is devastating. Tourism revenue has plunged. Small vendors near Disney World have seen sales drop by 35%, and thousands of seasonal workers are left without contracts. Former Imagineers describe feeling betrayed after decades of service, replaced by algorithms and automation. For many, Disney's decline isn't just corporate, it's cultural. When even happiness becomes unaffordable, it exposes the growing inequality and fragility of the U.S. economy. The Magic Kingdom didn't lose its magic by accident. It was downsized, automated, and sold to survive. Number 4. UPS. The UPS layoffs of 2025 are a stark warning for the U.S. economy and the America job market. Once the backbone of American commerce, UPS has cut 12,000 jobs following a dramatic decline in e-commerce demand. At its pandemic peak, UPS handled nearly 25 million packages daily. Today, that number has dropped below 18 million, a loss of 7 million shipments a day, translating into billions evaporating from the logistics chain. Revenue for the last quarter fell 9.4%, and net profits plummeted from $2.8 billion to just $1.5 billion. Warehouses in Atlanta, Chicago, and Louisville are scaling down operations with entire sorting lines now sitting idle. While UPS calls it market normalization, insiders point to a deeper problem. Consumers are spending less, inflation has eroded disposable income, small online businesses are closing, and corporate contracts are shrinking. The layoffs affect more than drivers. Warehouse managers, mechanics, and administrative staff, those who kept America's brown trucks moving, are now unemployed. Communities like Roswell, Georgia, which relied heavily on UPS workers, are feeling the economic ripple as local businesses collapse. Even Wall Street is taking notice. UPS stock has dropped 28% this year, erasing over $40 billion in market value, while competitors like FedEx are also cutting staff, signaling a nationwide economic slowdown. UPS once symbolized reliability. What can Brown do for you? Today, the question haunts millions of laid-off workers. The engine that once kept America connected is sputtering, and the road ahead for the U.S. economy looks uncertain. Number 3. Warner Brothers. The Warner Brothers. Discovery layoffs of 2025 highlight a growing strain on the U.S. economy and the America job market. The media powerhouse behind HBO, CNN, and DC Studios has cut over 5,000 employees since its merger, with ripple effects threatening thousands more. Drowning in $48 billion of debt, the company spends nearly $700 million per quarter on interest alone, leaving little room for growth or innovation. Streaming, once heralded as the future of entertainment, has failed to deliver. HBO Max subscriptions are stagnating, ad revenue has dropped 12%, and billions in content spending have been slashed. Over $2.5 billion in projects were canceled or shelved in 2024 alone, leaving creators, editors, and production teams unemployed. Entire animation studios in supporting roles in California and Georgia face elimination, impacting 15,000 additional jobs across suppliers, caterers, costume shops, and logistics providers. On the studio lots in Burbank, sound stages once alive with creativity now sit dark, reflecting a larger truth. Hollywood's dream factory is being hollowed out. Stock prices have plummeted over 45% in 2 years, erasing $20 billion in shareholder value. For the broader U.S. economy, Warner Bros. Discovery's collapse symbolizes more than corporate mismanagement. It signals a cultural and economic crisis. When storytellers can no longer create, the effects ripple through communities, small businesses, and the American creative workforce. The Dream Factory is now laying off its dreamers, and for millions, the happy endings that Hollywood once promised are fading fast. Number 2. Walmart. The Walmart layoffs of 2025 are sending shockwaves through the U.S. economy and the America job market. As the country's largest private employer with over 1.6 million U.S. workers, Walmart is quietly eliminating 25,000 jobs, automating warehouses, and closing underperforming stores nationwide. These cuts highlight deeper issues in the consumer economy amid rising USA debt and growing fears of a USA recession. For decades, Walmart symbolized affordability and stability. But inflation and shrinking consumer spending have made even everyday low prices unsustainable. Real retail sales have fallen 4.6% to 6% since 2024, while household credit card debt has surpassed $1.3 trillion, the highest in U.S. history. Automation is now replacing cashiers, stockers, and warehouse staff with AI-driven fulfillment centers that save the company billions, but at the cost of thousands of livelihoods. Profit margins are at a decade low of 2.8%, while food inflation has risen 18% over 3 years, forcing even loyal customers to cut back. In rural towns where Walmart is the last major store, layoffs are devastating local economies. Small businesses, diners, and gas stations report sales down 40%, and communities that depended on Walmart's payroll are facing mass unemployment. For economists, Walmart's shrinking workforce is a warning sign. If the nation's largest retailer can't sustain jobs, the U.S. job market and consumer spending, once thought resilient, are under severe strain. Walmart once promised savings and stability. In 2025, it delivers layoffs, automation, and a stark reminder that the American economy is faltering. Number 1. Intel. The Intel layoffs of 2025 mark a critical moment for the U.S. economy and the America job market. Once the backbone of the digital age, Intel powered every laptop, data center, and cloud server that defined modern America. But facing collapsing demand and fierce global competition, the chip giant has confirmed 15,000 layoffs, the largest in its history. After losing 30% of its PC market share to AMD and Apple, Intel's revenues have plunged from $63 billion to $44 billion in just 2 years, and factories in Arizona and Oregon are now running at half capacity. Intel invested over $20 billion building new semiconductor plants, betting on a chip boom, but overproduction and the rise of AI-focused competitors like NVIDIA have left the company overextended and in debt. Entire research teams designing next-generation chips have been dismantled, leaving thousands of engineers without work. The ripple effects are devastating. Suppliers, contractors, and logistics firms across the Pacific Northwest are facing canceled projects and unpaid invoices, threatening up to 25,000 additional indirect jobs. Meanwhile, Intel's stock has fallen 35%, wiping out $70 billion in market value. And even the US government's $39 billion CHIPS Act subsidies have been insufficient to halt the decline. For the US economy, Intel's struggles are more than corporate. They signal cracks in the technological foundation that once made America a global leader. The company that built the digital world now faces its harshest challenge, and the future of American innovation hangs in the balance. The layoffs at giants like Amazon, Google, Tesla, and Walmart are a stark reminder that even the most powerful companies aren't immune to economic pressures. The USA economy and the American job market are changing rapidly, and these shifts affect all of us. But challenges also bring opportunities for adaptation, growth, and innovation. How will you navigate this evolving landscape and prepare for the future? If you found this analysis valuable, make sure to subscribe, like, and hit the bell so you never miss an update. We'll see you every day at the same time with new insights.